All right, guys, how's it going? As you can see right there, it's going to be going to the movies of Hambone again because I went and saw the Forever Purge. Uh, so we're going to talk about the movie for a few minutes, not a super long review here. We're just going to be talking about some of the key points that either I liked or didn't like and going from there. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel right here as you're watching these videos to help us out a little bit. It's like something you can do for free that helps out the channel big time, and we'd really appreciate it if you can do that. So yeah, I went to see the movie The Forever Purge, and I'm kind of iffy on it, and you'll be able to understand why here in just a second. Like, I will say, pretty close to the beginning of the movie, imagery that was popping up remind me of where I live almost, although this was not set in my great state of Alabama. I mean, come on, man. When you got a pickup truck, some dude standing in the back with a shotgun with some flags. Yeah, bro. Reminds me of Sweet Home, Alabama. All right. So the premise of this movie right here is you have the purge. All right. So the last movie, we'll go back real quick. The last movie that was there, basically the purge was done and over with. The leadership that had been in control, that was the ones that created the purge, they kind of get knocked off their pedestal. So there's no purge anymore. But there's a bunch of things happening in America, and basically they use a lot of political stuff that's been going on here recently in our great country. With that being said, like with immigrants and stuff like that are coming into the country doing certain things. This group gets back elected into power, and when they do, the first thing they obviously do is reenact a purge. So you have the purge. We have some people that are coming from Mexico, Latinos that are coming in. Main characters of the story that are working their way inside of America to try to rebuild their lives. So this purge happens. They survive. They're able to get in this thing and able to make it the next day. They're going to go about their regular lives. And this is why this one's called the Forever Purge, is because the purge is technically over with and is supposed to stop, but a big group of people that really want to purge the planet of their immigrants and all this other stuff. So basically like nationalists, whatever, come out and they're not stopping. They're still doing the purge even after the purge is supposed to be banned. Now, the group of people, as far as the government that reenacted the purge, they don't want this to happen. So they're even fighting against it at this point, starting to try to fight against this chaos. So basically, this movie is a group of people that get together for different reasons. Right. So you have the Latinos. You got one guy, he works at a ranch. His wife works at some kind of a cooking place or whatever. And there's one part of the movie, right here, this is one of the ranchers that owns the ranch. Some of the people that they had working for him rise up against them because they're like, oh man, you got all the money, you rich, it's time for you guys to understand what it's like to be poor and everything else. So that kind of stuff's going on. And you still got some cool imagery with this. This is one of the coolest things I thought was in the movie. Was these I guess rabbit boys, whatever, dressed up, trying to trap one of our characters in the movie. But this is what it breaks down to me. I watched something like The Purge, or started watching The Purge, because I'm a big horror fan. And look, this ain't the most coolest thing to say, I guess, in some circles, but I love the blood and guts, man. I want to see blood and guts. That's the part of me watching The Purge. Part of my fun is to go in and see a bunch of blood and guts. Now, some people don't like that, and I understand that, right? And so that as the movies have went on up until this movie, right, they've slowly and surely have taken away a lot of the blood and guts and been more action oriented, which is fine. Like I said, it's probably even more watchable for more fans, right? Correct. So there are a decent amount of people that are like me and love the horror franchise, but there's also a lot more people that love action style movies. So it seems like they're actually going to that route, where it's more of an action style thing. So all this stuff happens. You don't see you see some of the aftermath, not a lot of the killings and all that. But the one thing in this movie they truthfully do 100% is change to the more action oriented. This group of people is trying to survive this chaos that's happening around them, and they've got guns and stuff like that to defend themselves, and they're trying to get to the border because it's kind of funny in this movie. A lot of people come to America to be able to get away from any bad stuff happening around them, refugees, And now a lot of Americans are trying to find out refugees, and Canada and Mexico is basically like they give them a time limit. You got 6 hours to get to the border. After that, we're closing our borders down, but we will allow people that have no weapons, that are unarmed, to come into the country to be able to be safer. And that's what basically the premise of the story is. That these characters are obviously in Texas, as you can tell by the image I brought up earlier with the pickup truck there. Yeah, you know, they're probably in Texas, definitely in the South somewhere. So they're going to Mexico, and that's pretty much the premise of the movie and this breakdown. Like I said, if you're a big horror fan and you love the blood and guts, this movie is not going to excite you. That's one of the reasons why I'm a little let down. Now, I do understand that this movie is pretty decent. Like the characters, the actors, they do a pretty good job. And to be honest with you, like there's not enough representation out there to me as far as the Latino community. They usually get stuck with being these bad guys or like drug lords or something like that. And in this movie, they really become just like these normal people that's trying to have a better life and everything else. One of the ladies in the story, she was actually part of this like women organization that was rising up against like the cartels and everything else. And she's basically getting out of Mexico for safety and everything else. And they're trying to build like a better life, like I said. And these are like some of those characters, and they become heroes. They like one guy ends up basically getting sacrificed. He has to sacrifice himself for the betterment of the group, pretty much. I mean, it's not his choice, but like he gets killed and everything else, and you really feel that emotion. And it's really cool to watch a movie where you know, 3 of the main characters were Latinos, and they really did a really good job. Like I said, I have no problems with any of the acting. The directing for the style of movie they went, to me, wasn't terrible. Like I said, there were some cool things and cool moments, but when I go to see this movie, I want to see the blood and guts. And because of that, like I'm right on the line on this movie. So I rate this movie. I give it a 5. I give it a 5 on the 1 to 10 scale. That's how I do it. My 5 to me is right there in the middle. Like I don't know if I love it. Don't know if I dislike it. I'm kind of like lukewarm. I don't know which direction to go with this movie. Mainly because of the simple fact I want blood and guts. They gave me action. The action was good, so but I still wanted this. And like I said, a lot of people going into this movie are not going to be that kind of person. So like let's put it to you this way. If you're a person that normally wouldn't go watch The Purge because, oh wait, it's The Purge, there's a bunch of crazy like blood and gore and all this stuff, like no, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. This movie is a movie that you can go watch and you can have a lot of fun with, because this movie doesn't have a lot of that. Like it's more of a, you know, action style based. And like I said, I get it. I understand why they went in that direction and all that. So to me, it's not terrible. But I'm right dead in the middle on this movie. Like I really just don't know. You know, you ask me a couple months from now, and maybe I lean more towards I like it better, right? Maybe I go to 6 and 7. I don't think I'll drop it below 5, because this movie overall was pretty good and had good aspects of it. And go out and support this movie, like especially if you're a Latino, because like I said, a lot of you guys do not get a bunch of representation as far as being like the good guys and the heroes and stuff like in movies. And, you know, this movie hits it big, and it proves, hey, you can have Latino main story characters be the heroes, and people will go out and watch it. So, hey, go out and support it, man. Kind of like what happened with Black Panther in the superhero genre when you had like your first like real black superhero in the MCU. A lot of people went out and supported that movie and see like what happened and stuff. It was a big groundswell of support, which is pretty cool. And I like to see that go both ways. But other than that, guys, that's about it on this movie. Like I said, I rated it a 5. Decent movie. Let me know in the comments below, like what you thought about the movie, what you liked about the movie. Like maybe you never would have went and watched The Purge. Maybe you watch this review and see that I tell you that there's not a lot of blood and guts. There's only a couple of scenes that are kind of, you know, going towards that route, but it doesn't get super like gory or anything. So you can go see this movie. Like I'm telling you, go see this movie. You don't have to have watched any of the other Purge movies. Just understand what The Purge is kind of about, like where there's a one night where everything goes, murder, anything can be allowed to happen, but they kind of still tell you in this movie like what's going on with that. So yeah, you won't be lost. You could go watch this movie and it'd be the first Purge movie you've ever seen, and not be like anywhere in a bad spot. Like you'll be able to follow it easily and everything else. And it's pretty smooth. Thank you guys. Till next time. Peace.